Welcome back to Ride JBI. I'm JB. Today we finished another Stark Varg JBI spec suspension rebuild. Before we go into all the details of what we did, why we did it, and what this rider should expect when he gets his JBI spec suspension back, first let's do a little recap about the suspension that comes on the Stark Varg. The Stark Varg comes with KYB 48 millimeter twin chamber forks. This is often referred to as the KYB SSS or KYB AOS fork. Those terms are interchangeable as they are referring to the same fork, and they both function identically in terms of the hardware that's there. It is the settings that you can tune to dictate how it performs. The rear shock is a KYB rear shock with a 16 millimeter shaft, 50 millimeter piston, features a bladder instead of a piston, and KYB's triple adjuster. So now we've recapped that. Let's get into the details of what we did on the JBI spec forks. Our JBI spec suspension revalve on the KYB forks features a few different items. So the internals are revalve to what we call our JBI suspension motocross spec. The way we do these is we customize this setting based on the information the rider gives us. So based on their height and weight, their riding ability, and also very importantly, their geographic location, meaning where are they riding at? If you've ever talked to me before on the phone or by email, you'll often notice that I ask you, where do you ride? If you tell me motocross track, I'll say, well, what are the name of the tracks? Because I'm actually going to sit down and take the time to look up the tracks, the trails, or the spots that you ride at up on YouTube so I can get a visual on the exact terrain and obstacles that you encounter. I even go as far as looking at a number of videos so I can see how that track, terrain, or trails develops and changes throughout the year. Because we all know the same track for different riding spots can be very different depending on the climate and time of season. So again, this allows me to have a much better understanding of what you are encountering and how I need to customize our JBI suspension setup for you specifically where you are located. This rider is up in the Northern California area, so they tend to ride a lot of those tracks in Northern California. To complement the valving that we did, we increased the spring rate by 1 rate. This is going to give the bike better hold up, and it also allows us to not have to run the valving as stiff. So think of it as we revalve the suspension in a way to make the forks much more comfortable and compliant over small and medium bumps. The spring rate is going to help hold the bike up in the tall part of its travel so it doesn't ride low. And then to complement all that, we utilize our JBI Titanium Pro Perch to ensure that the forks have really good bottoming resistance the last few inches of travel. So we attack this fork in 3 different ways: through valving, through spring rate, and with our JBI Pro Perch. Hey, what up, man? To complement what we did on the front forks, we also revalve the rear shock to our matching JBI suspension motocross spec. And we also increase the spring rate by 1 rate as well. We're finding that for motocross riders, if you purchase a bike from Stark and put in your true weight, for instance, this rider selected 160 pounds, so he got the softest spring rates that come on the bike. We're finding those spring rates to be 1 rate soft and what's ideal for motocross. We'll soon publish our own JBI, let's say, spring rate recommendation chart so you can see what we've come to conclusion on. But again, to match the forks, we revalve the rear shock, and we also increase the spring rate as well. When we revalve these shocks, we focus heavily on the main piston valving and also the valving and the compression adjuster as well. That ensures that we can get the maximum performance out of these KYB shocks. What this rider can expect when he gets his bike back is the suspension to be a lot smoother and comfortable over the small and medium bumps. Commonly, the bumps you find going into corners and coming out of corners, it's going to have better hold up during aggressive riding, and it's also better body resistance. So compared to stock, there's no area in this suspension performance that we have not improved. So in this comparison, it's overall a better setup. By no means is it perfect. It's still a dirt bike, so you have good technique and ride well. But again, compared to stock, it is much better overall. Thank you guys for another JBI spec suspension build video. Everything we covered in this video about the services we did, products you can find at ridegbi.com. If you ever want to talk to me, give me a look. I'm the one that talks to all the customers. You can also reach me by email at ridegbi.com. You find the email address as well.